Well, thank you for joining me for another iTWire video. Today I have with me Jonathan Huberman. He's the CEO of Ooyala, and Steve Davis on my right, the General Manager for Ooyala in Asia Pacific and Japan. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, Ooyala is built as a US-based subsidiary of Telstra and a global provider of video monetization and services. So, Jonathan, can you briefly tell us, before you tell us about Ooyala, tell us a little bit about your fascinating history in the world of tech through several CEOships leading up to the CEO of Ooyala.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us. I started my CEO career running iOmega towards the tail end of iOmega's reign.
A company I remember fondly.
Yes, and my team and I, regrew it. It had fallen on hard times. Grew it fairly aggressively, and after a few years sold it to EMC, and then continued to grow it to a multi-$100-million business. At which point I ended up leaving and ended up running another software company, this one in public safety software. And since then I've also run a third software company, that one in storage software and storage for enterprise accounts.
And now you've moved into the world of digital media and streaming and broadcasting and all of that.
Yeah, it's a very exciting market, high growth.
Well, we'll get into what Ooyala does in a moment. Steve, tell us a little bit about your history.
Yeah, so second time in Sydney, living in Sydney, happy to be back. So done the Silicon Valley journey, as a lot of times you do in tech in the US. So I've worked for some large companies like PeopleSoft. Last company was Demand Tech, based in the Valley, which was acquired by IBM. And then I've been with Ooyala for about 6 years. Was running the eastern part of North America before I was asked to take over Asia Pacific Japan, which I was glad to do to get me back to Sydney, Australia, with the best weather on earth.
Absolutely.
Other than maybe Southern California, but they're the same. So.
Now, I remember Real Audio and then postage stamp size Real Video. And in fact, I even met one of the founders of Real Video who's doing a mobile phone data and all sorts of other interesting stuff there. But tell us about Ooyala. I mean, we're now living in the golden age of streaming media and over-the-top video and full 4K, all the incredible stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you're helping to transform all of that.
Well, with Yalla, we have a couple different products, all within the banner of what we call IVP, Integrated Video Platform. And what we've been known for the last decade is our OVP, our Online Video Platform, which enables folks to create OTT channels very efficiently, effectively, no matter what kind of video on demand, whether it's advertising driven, subscription driven, doesn't matter. The best quality solutions in the market, that's part of our solution. The other part we call Flex, and what Flex does, it automates the media workflows. And what shocked me, I'm relatively new in this industry, but have been in technology since the late 80s, hence all the gray hair. What shocks me is the level or lack thereof of automation in this industry. And I think Flex is well positioned to help alleviate those challenges, which in the end will enable our customers to, one, be much more efficient with their efforts in terms of everything from script to screen and how they monetize their media, and also be able to understand what's really going on within their organizations. And so it adds a significant level of efficiency as well as profits in the end.
So what's an example of how this automation is changing the way things were done in the past?
Well, Steve, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah.
So one of our customers, a large sports broadcaster, the automation helps them. For instance, one example is to get clips out to all of their providers as fast as possible. So to give you an example, if you're watching English Premier League soccer, there's a live stream going on powered by Ooyala on the OVP side. The IVP play, the integrated video platform, has Flex taking that live clip, making it into a VOD file, and sending it out to all of their affiliate channels to then show that clip, whether it's online or on their channel. And we're doing it in record speeds. We, with that customer, have reduced their costs significantly of getting that clip and piece of content out. We've also helped them increase revenues. They're able to charge their partners more based on the SLA, the time it takes to get them that clip to show to their customer base. So fairly groundbreaking things we can do. with not just having OVP. So we've always been able to run a live stream or a VOD, but now having Flex to power that through the content lifecycle is pretty groundbreaking.
And so, I mean, clearly this is for telcos, broadcasters, large businesses in the content space. You're not doing anything with small to medium enterprises or even people like myself with a YouTube channel.
Now, this really enables large enterprises with a significant amount of media content to optimize how they work and how they can leverage that content. It really isn't meant for folks, either mom and pops or individuals.
Sure. And I mean, with OTT, that's obviously people who are getting that content over their broadband connection, but you must also be powering, I don't know, internal company video streams. I mean, what's the sort of breadth and depth of your customers and all the sort of streams you're doing today?
Sure. We do everything from major broadcasters to major content providers, aggregators, as well as content creators, as well as big enterprise. One of the world's largest PC companies leverages our technology for all their in-house videos.
Sure. And so, Jonathan, how come you've come to Australia to meet the troops and customers?
We have a very large base of customers in Australia. It's an important market for us. There's a significant amount of demand for our Flex products. I'm here to visit with folks who want to learn more about it. And then obviously we're owned by Telstra, so I'm here to meet with our Telstra partners that have been fantastic for us.
So when we talk about technology, we're always thinking about the future. So how does the next 12 months in terms of content and the capability of broadcasters to build personalized experiences of the sort you've been speaking about, how's that going to evolve, and how are you going to help all those businesses achieve maximum returns?
Well, I think the pace of change in this industry is rapid and accelerating. And part of that is because of exogenous factors, things like what Google, YouTube are doing to folks, what AWS are doing to competitors, what Netflix is doing to the market is forcing everyone else to react, and also to try to get ahead of it, even where places where they haven't been affected yet, many people will. That's one element of change in this market. Another element of change in the market is AI and what cognitive services can do for broadcasters, content providers in this today. It's changed dramatically this year over what was able to be done last year, and next year I think will be even more dramatic. And together with our partner Microsoft, who we're very tightly partnered with, we'll be able to offer a series of artificial intelligence applications on top of our Flex platform in conjunction with our OVP to enable providers to do things like real-time captioning and near real-time translating, as well as video indexing, so you can capture in videos who's actually being seen. So as an example, if there's, as Steve mentioned earlier, in a soccer match, if someone scores a goal and we're live streaming it, you could actually have the computers figure out, not humans, figure out who scored, and then for the next ad, actually play an ad if there's one in inventory with that star, as opposed to just some random ad. So you end up leveraging your content together with your AI to get higher CPMs.
And I'm sure the computer could go, goal!
Yes.
And now, in the latest Ooyala newsletter, which I do subscribe to because it was interesting things there, I noticed that your editor was talking about YouTube TV. I don't suppose you have any insight on when that might launch in Australia? It's a US thing at the moment.
First off, thank you for subscribing and reading it. The answer is no, we don't know. I think it's a very good question for the folks at Google. And as YouTube, as well as Netflix and AWS end up becoming more and more pervasive around the globe, it is clearly going to force people to react. When it happens in Australia, I'm not sure.
Sure. And I also noticed you talk about Wimbledon 2027 in the latest newsletter. So that's clearly looking down, the crystal ball into 10 years into the future. That segues beautifully into my question about how you think the industry will look in 10 years' time. So,
it is funny. We have so many sports customers. So we get that question a lot. You can almost imagine a time when the virtual reality video, so VR's coming out now and 360 cameras.
You want that holographic projection right in your living room with HoloLens and all the rest.
Yeah, if I'm to see the future, and he's a lot smarter than I am, so this is why I have this job. But in 2027, you can literally imagine putting on the goggles and being part of the tennis match.
Yeah.
And so the sky's the limit. As John had mentioned before, the industry moves so rapidly. What we were doing 4 or 5 years ago doesn't even work anymore on half the devices, right? So we're always looking for what can we do today for our customers, but think a few years ahead and say, what is the consumer going to want? And the industry is dictated a lot by what the consumer is looking for in their experience. And yeah, whether it's you're in the action itself, I don't know, the sky's the limit.
I know we have like cricket cam where you have, the camera in the stumps. I'm just imagining if you could have a camera in the actual tennis ball itself, whether that would be like too much of a roller coastery, crazy view or.
Well, the NHL has actually tried it within the puck.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
so they have the puck cam.
It's not quite a cam; it's a sensor. So
Yeah.
so you can see it on
That's
TV
right.
where it goes.
Sure,
right.
sure. Well, I mean, yeah, it's incredible to think, where we will be in a few years, and probably what will happen will be stuff we haven't, we just can't imagine yet.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, if you think about in the United States with the NFL, you already have cameras on top of referees' hats.
Okay.
You have mics on players. I can't imagine it wouldn't happen. You're going to have every player at some point with a camera, small camera sitting on their helmet,
Yeah.
and allow the individuals at home to see
choose.
what angle they want. I think what you end up competing with as a broadcaster, as a media company, is video games.
Yeah.
I look at my 16-year-old son. He much rather play Madden NFL than watch an NFL game, and which makes my wife and I sad that he doesn't want to be with us. But I understand the interactivity is something that the generation has been trained on, and their ability to choose and to be part of the action. I think it's only going to accelerate.
So as we get towards the end of the interview, I always like to step away from what we're talking about and just ask if you could both share some great advice that you've received over the years to help you get where you are today.
Well, again, as you can tell from the accent, I'm an American. I played American football my entire life, and I don't know if this translates to Aussie rules, but there's a saying, I was a wide receiver, so I was meant to catch the balls. And there's a saying in American football, if you can touch it, you can catch it. So there's no excuses. Well, I had a high school football coach who took it one step further. He said, if you could see it, you can catch it. And so whenever the ball could have been 6 feet over my head, the coach was like, did you see it? So yes, we should have caught it.
Yeah,
So
well, you need to be in Aussie rules for that because they can jump so high.
Exactly. And so I think that's always stayed with me, that set extremely high expectations and don't settle for less.
Sure. It sounds almost like a twist on, skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it's been.
True.
But yes, you might need to have very long arms for that.
Yes. And you end up being disappointed, but at least you try harder
sometimes.
next time.
That's it. And Steve?
Yeah, I've had the luxury of working with some really smart people in the Valley over the years. I think the best advice I always got is treat people with respect, because you never know when you're going to end up working with them again. And that's come absolutely to fruition for me in my career, and I've worked with a lot of the same people over the years, and it's been great advice.
So do you both have any final messages, not just for iTWire viewers and readers, but for your current and future customers watching now?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a very exciting time, and it's only going to get more exciting for the media and content providers. And so it's not a time to relax. It's time to be even more aggressive and to watch your backs, but also, to your point, skate to where the puck's going to be.
Yeah. Steve?
Yeah, I would just say the industry's changing so quickly. Make sure you're paying attention not to what you're doing today, but how Ooyala can help you look to the future. That's what we're here for.
Well, Jonathan and Steve, thank you very much. Best of luck with your time in Australia, and talk to you again hopefully soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.